Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Dr. Sohail Hanif, how are you?
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Alhamdulillah, very well. And you?
It's nice to have you here. Alhamdulillah, I'm very well, thank you. Nice to have you here for another episode on this beautiful podcast where we learn a little bit more about zakat, how it impacts our community, and as an organization, how you're using the tools available to you to enhance the impact of zakat in the UK. Now, today I want to focus a little bit about the feeling in the community when it comes to the sort of macro economics of the world, if I can put it that way. So what I mean by that is I've been working in the charity sector for a little while now, and we come across floods, and we seem to have a lot of that in the Muslim world. Let's talk about the conflicts in Syria, in Yemen, now in Gaza, and in Lebanon. So sometimes we feel like, it's like we've been defeated everywhere we look. We just find ourselves depressed. Victory is not there, and it doesn't matter what we do, it just feels like we are, banging our head on a wall, if I can put it that way. How does zakat play a role in giving us hope and empowering us as a community?
Thank you very much. That's a very, very important, weighty, and vast question.
It's a very deep question. I think I went a bit too deep, but when I stand in front of the television and we speak to the viewers, and I feel like that's one of the things that kind of affects us. And I'm a donor myself, and when I'm giving, I want to help, but it feels like it's an ongoing cycle, and every year the need increases, but our capability of giving still the same. But there's a deep conversation, but we'll break it down.
Sure.
There's no formality here, so let's keep it nice and easy. Let's address this question. So, in terms of the challenges that we're facing, and how does zakat fit into it?
Yeah, so the first thing is to note the importance of pain. Pain over the matters that you've raised, the difficulties, the wars, the oppression, the injustice, the mass killing that's happening over so many parts of the world, affecting so many believers and innocent people. It's painful. Pain is a mark of life. Pain is a mark of faith, actually. And so it's important to validate and note the importance of this pain. Our Prophet ﷺ, he said something, it was a very powerful metaphor for us to unpack. He said that the believers, in their mutual love, care, solidarity, are like a body. If one part of the body is in pain, then the whole body stays up in fever and not being able to sleep. So this is just the first part of that. But when you unpack the metaphor, you then get a clue into your role in the body. So this body, belonging to the body, is what we mean by the Arabic word of Ummah. The fact that Islam is a communal, collective religion and way of life. If you declare that there's one God and Muhammad is his messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, immediately you should feel part of a community of faith. The Arabic word is Ummah. We have to have a vision, a mission, a role to bring about honor, dignity, safety, thriving and protection for the Ummah. That's actually our highest calling. And we could at length show how everything in what our Prophet taught sallallahu alaihi wasallam was actually achieving this end. But what's your role, my role in all of this? If you look at the metaphor of the body, you and I will not be the entire body. You and I will be cells. Cells will be in clusters. Clusters will be in organs. And so how does a body recover from any ailment? It's not by everyone doing the same thing or just staying up. It's about the liver being a strong liver and the heart pumping as a strong heart. It's about, there'll be white blood cells that will go to the site of the pain. So there's a whole movement. There's an entire system. We have to understand that we're part of a system. And the pain, which is the mark of life, and it is the mark of Iman, it's meant to drive action, focused action, principled action, disciplined action, coming from an awareness of where are you? What are you? What have you been given? What should you be doing? And it's at that point that our message that we're discussing becomes very, very relevant, because we've stressed previously that there's a very special right on your faith community who are near you because of the extra tie of closeness. And so we have to think about the entire Ummah globally as our sphere of concern and love and support, but where do we have the maximum ability to effect change, to build strength, to be a source of solidarity, to be a source of support? It will always be also where you live. It can't be ignoring where you are, ignoring what's around you, and thinking, well, I'm going to take care of the whole. It's like
my relatives or extended family back home need help and support, so that's my first priority. What you're saying is we got to begin localizing the efforts.
I'll come to relatives because that's also a tie. Our Prophet ﷺ stressed the sanctity of every tie. Global ummah is a tie, relatives are a tie, correct. But the idea is where you are is not only a tie, but it's where you can make real change. And we have to realize that any victory is a victory. We look at all the defeats and the suffering in this country and that country and this war and that attrition, this collapse, of infrastructure or economies. We have to celebrate victories as well.
Give me an example. Make me feel better. Give me an example of a situation where we have done something where it gave us victory. The Muslim community can be proud of something, an action that we have done, maybe since 2011 when NZF came into existence.
Well, if we're talking currently on the global level, and then we'll come back to the UK level, there's so many victories. There's so many Muslim economies that have risen. There's wonderful, I visited the Zakat, he's a gentleman that oversees Zakat in the state of, within Malaysia, where you have Kuala Lumpur and a few others. It's a magnificent system. They really have made an incredible social infrastructure through Zakat. I met a professor who was in Indonesia, and he was saying this is the future, or the rising economy in Indonesia. I met a gentleman over this last weekend who leads the faith community in Seville in Spain, and he's talking about how they're doing local zakat in Seville, how they're doing various forms of da'wah infrastructure. They're tying to the past of Islamic Spain. There's so much good work, so many souls finding comfort, so many people building systems. So you have to realize this is the body. And it's not just what the bad news, because bad news always makes good news. Good news doesn't make good news for whatever reason, right? And so I just want to say that this is all our history and our story. When it comes to where you are, the most important thing to realize then is that being a believer always means to be optimistic. We have to always remember that. You cannot be pessimistic as a believer. And what I mean by that is not the pessimism of, I think things are going to get worse. That's an analysis. But the pessimism of, we're defeated. This is useless. There's no point. Because that's not the story of history. It's not the story of the Quran. It's not the story of faith. On the contrary, we have every opportunity. When times get difficult, that's opportunity for the believer. Because as I always tell people, we are at a time we can lay a foundation for the future of Islam where we're living, and we can have the reward of everybody that's going to come after us. It's as simple as that. Whenever you're in a foundational stage, whenever you're at a civilizational time when Muslims on the whole are struggling, if you can be part of people moving the wheel upwards, you have the reward of whatever comes after you. This is the time for maximum creativity, maximum innovation, maximum thinking, tying to the past, learning the present. What can we build? Our mosques are success stories. We will complain about this mosque, committee, and this problem here and that problem there. But if you zoom out of all the micro politics, our mosques are an incredible success story. They're always expanding. There's a lot of charity connected to mosques now, a lot of social good tied to our mosques, an entire generation of people who are growing and finding comfort. Our mosques are success stories. We are building success all of the time. And our success is consequential because we don't live in an inconsequential country. When we talk about where your question starts, which is the global, the United Kingdom sits on very important tables. The United Kingdom can really have a strong voice to stop oppression, just like it can have a strong voice to enable oppression. It's not an insignificant outlier. The fact that in Allah's wisdom, there is a faith community of believers in this country, we can't accuse God of randomness or not thinking it out, or you should have made me born somewhere else because I would have done great things for you. That's not the mark of Iman or faith. The mark is to say that, oh, God in His wisdom has a plan for us. What is the best thing we can do where we are with what we've been given that will be a source of thriving for the message of the Messenger of God, alayhi salatu wasalam, where we live, for the future of believers, for the wider society who have a need where we are, and to be a source of good for our believers and human beings across the planet. I think we have that platform. I think we have that duty. And I think even the question of localizing zakat and building solidarity and building infrastructure, I think it's a great foundation for our future. So in summary, I'm not saying that we can talk about one solution that covers all of our global sadnesses, but pain is a mark of life. Pain is meant to drive us to action, and we have victories all of the time, and we have to build something great where we live, because it's going to have, I believe, maximum consequence in how we can support our brothers and sisters everywhere. And finally, I'm not at all saying not to send money overseas as well. These are important causes. If we are able to help, we should help. But we all know much of the aid is stuck in trucks expiring outside of Gaza. And so it's not that there's a shortness of money even. There's a political barrier, which if we had a stronger voice, we could affect that barrier. So the solution is multifaceted. We shouldn't forget the platform Allah gave us right here where we are.
So the message is, do not lose hope.
Yeah.
And I think 4 years ago, research suggested that the Muslim community, out of all the faith communities, the Christian community, the Jewish community, and the Muslim community, is the most generous when it comes to giving. And I think that says something about zakat being a pillar of our faith, but also sadaqah and how we utilize our wealth to empower others. So would you say that that's a testament to what we are heading towards as a community, as a society?
I think it is, and I think it's even a greater testament if you also realize not only in that recent survey were Muslims the most generous community, but in our ongoing census reports are the most impoverished as well. And that's what really underscores this ethic and value of our faith, our teaching, our religion. And that's why I said it's very easy to hone in on the deficiencies within ourselves, within our mosques, within our institutions, within so on. But when you zoom out of it, you realize that we really are representing our Prophet ﷺ. We are giving the most in the most difficulty, and that's what he represented in his person, sallallahu alaihi wa alihi wasallam. And so I think that's exactly, it marks the importance of zakat, of sadaqah, of the fact that this teaching that he brought, God bless him and give him peace, was the way of giving. His book, the Quran, is the book of giving. And I think you can demonstrate that. The importance of giving. Give is what the Quran was saying from right at the beginning till right at the end of the revelation. And although we've stressed a lot about, because of the nature of zakat, the faith community, faith solidarity, Muslim community, the truth is that what we're describing here, and we can go into it further, is a source of support and giving for the wider society. And we have to be that, because our Prophet, God bless him and give him peace, was a mercy to the world, not just to his ummah. We are his representatives. We have to be a mercy to the people of Great Britain where we live. If they don't feel the mercy of a thriving Muslim community amongst them, we have not yet done our job. Zakat is part of enabling that mercy.
Fascinating. Let's bring National Zakat Foundation into this. How is NZF contributing to that story that you've just beautifully put, that as a community, if we are not succeeding and if we are not thriving, then we're not doing justice to the society we're living in. So how does NZF play into all this? What is the vision of the organization?
Okay. So, like anything that you build it from its foundation. And so if I were to describe what I see as the absolute imperative for National Zakat Foundation, it's about, can we really build a foundation powered by zakat for our Muslim communities? If we get the foundation right, then I think the sky's the limit what we can build on top of this foundation. What do I mean by a foundation? Though I use the phrase National Zakat System to talk about this foundation. What do I mean by a National Zakat System? What I mean is that it's a situation whereby there is no Muslim anywhere in the United Kingdom, from the north of it to the south of it, from the east of it to the west of it, from the cities of it to the villages of it, from the streets of it to the high-rise towers of it. No Muslim, except that they can go to bed at night with a feeling of comfort that they are part of a community that is there for them. If they have surplus, they pay into this collective pot, which is zakat. And if they are in need, they draw out of this pot. If they come across somebody who's struggling, they know exactly how to help them. That situation, if we can truly build the National Zakat System, we will have built a tremendous foundation for the future of our community, because it's the net, or it's the ground, on top of which we will build many, many great things that don't just need zakat, because we will have unlocked in our imagination the fact that we can look after each other and that we have to. That's at the heart of it. What it takes to build this future, or let me give you a metaphor first before I get to what it takes. A metaphor for this, although it's struggling and it's described as broken, I think, by the minister who's responsible for it, is the National Health...
Is that the metaphor? Or
NHS.
Right, okay.
Let's think about NHS. In its weakest state, they're calling it broken, and it's got all these problems, and it's got a long waiting list. Despite all of that,
Right.
Let's look at what the NHS is today. The NHS today is something which gives me comfort right now. But literally, I'm not thinking about it. If I thought about it, I have comfort. Do you know why? Because if you suddenly stop breathing, I know what number to call. I know what kind of ambulance service I'll get. I'll know that if I have to take you somewhere, there will be a node of support. I'm not from Stepney Green, where we are, but I know there'll be a hospital. That's what I mean, a node of support. I could be anywhere in the country. There'll be an A&D department. And I know I have a right of access to it. That's really powerful. Just that very basic sense. And I also know that I'm paying for it. It's not even a gift, actually. I pay into it, I take out of it. I pay into it, you take out of it, right? And sometimes when we look over the pond to our friends on the other side, sometimes we don't envy them, because they don't have a strong safety net for people who are not able to afford insurance, health insurance. And we see sometimes very scary stories of people with very basic ailments seriously struggling, like a basic cut becoming gangrene. You can hear the wildest stories sometimes for people who are failed by the insurance system. We don't have any of that. If you're here, you get served. It's really simple.
Right.
And that's NHS at its weakest right now, is what we're describing. And it's still actually a cause of, I think, some pride if you were to zoom out again and forget the little bits of correct. So there's no reason why we cannot have a national zakat system where every Muslim knows your nodes of support, you know your numbers to call, you know exactly how you can help someone. That, I believe, is the foundation that we have to build. How do we get there? The most important thing we have to shift in getting there is actually our role as just people, you and me. Because no one charity or no one group of people are going to build this for us. We have to all take part in this. Why do we all have to take part? It's because no one can educate your network like you can. No one knows the problems in your network like you know. No one has the access that you have. We have to build this together. What we have to create is a movement of believers who want to build a future of solidarity. No one is left behind. Everyone who's struggling is found. That's it. So unlocking that sense of let's mobilize for our communities, let's feel responsible for our own, that's actually the most important point. And that's at the heart of the teaching of zakat. We are responsible for our own. And the rest gets easy. The rest is just simply, if you mobilize people to educate others, how do you educate them? That's easy.
Yeah.
We'll educate you, you educate others. It's not hard. If it's about raising funds for our community, it's easy. We'll show you how to raise funds. Help us raise the funds. If it's about distributing zakat in a way that you're connecting with each other, we are developing methods for that as well. So we have some steps. We have to learn. But the most important thing is we have to do it together. NZF for me is not going to just stand alone and say, give us all the money and we're going to solve all of the problems. But I'd like us to think of NZF as an enabler and a collaborator. We have knowledge, we have systems, we have technology, we have expertise, we have scholarship, we have links, we have relationships. But you have your skills and your network. Let's come together. Let's build something great.
What are some of the challenges you faced in trying to get to that route? Have you faced some challenges, resistance, or maybe people doubting themselves? Because I know fundraising is not easy.
What I'd say is we are at the early stages of this movement, what I could call mass movement of believers for communities, community solidarity and the related. So I think in terms of the challenge, it's really kickstarting this. People hear it, it's a nice message, what can I do? So we now have a landing page on our website. If you just click on volunteering, you can register, you can get a volunteering induction, you can be asked, what would you like to do? Would you like to educate? Would you like to fundraise? Would you like to help in distribution? What would you like to do? And then we will enable you. So the challenge is just getting that out there, which we can only do once people start seeing it as important. So it is a challenge of awareness and information and education and empowering people. That's it. How do you push this out? Because people want to do good for their communities, they just don't know how. So it's tying that connection is probably, I'd say, the most important part of this.
So Dr. Sohail, I feel like this is just the beginning for National Zakat Foundation, and of course I'm familiar, as are many people in our community, with the work of NZF. Would you say that this is just the beginning of a long journey for our community?
I would say definitely it's the beginning of a journey, because what I've described is what I call the foundation for what I think we can build something great for ourselves as a community, and the foundation will take some concerted effort and collaboration to come about. So yes, this is, I think, quite a monumentous journey, not just for us in the UK, by the way, but I really do believe we have the ability to build a model that many people are going to be interested in following all over the world, because again, we here in the United Kingdom are occupying a place that many people look to, actually, whether it's in Muslim majority countries. I went to Australia and New Zealand after Ramadan. I was surprised how much Muslims in Australia and New Zealand look up to UK Muslims to follow what they're saying, follow the podcast, follow the politics. We're not isolated on an island as much as it might feel like. If we build something great, I think it will have global repercussions. And I think we have an opportunity here, because sometimes in Muslim majority countries, due to political setups, Muslims aren't as empowered to imagine building solidarity network systems in the way that we're discussing. Not everyone has that luxury to build and imagine. So I think it's consequential actually for even beyond the shores of our island.
So in essence, what you're saying is this is the beginning, and this journey is never going to be easy. And from all the success stories that we have seen in various community organizations, we will have challenges that we'll have to overcome. And I think we'll leave it at that because I want to focus on the challenges in another episode. Dr. Sohail Hanif, thank you very much. It's been fascinating. And until the next time, Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.